emergency call, they gotta go. Whether you assign them there or not. If it's a real emergency, they have to move. So if they're not there when these kids go back to school, what's gonna happen? When the drug dealers will go right back out there when they don't see the police up there, they're right back at their BP station, doing what they do every day. If they're not there, they're across the street, or they're sitting on the church steps, or they're sitting on the sorority steps that they have that will be opening over there. I mean, it's ridiculous. And when I called your district, a female answered the phone. You know what she told me? We don't have time to come down there and stop people for traffic if they doing wrong. For a police officer to say that out of her mouth, a 17-year veteran, because see, I did my homework. She don't even know who I was, who she was talking to on the phone. But for her to say that to me on the phone, I was pissed. So if we can't get any help from you all in our community, what good is it? I mean, what are you going to do? And these officers need to be talked to, trained. They need a whole lot of training because some of them so nasty, it's pathetic.
Can you repeat where? Which corner?
3800 block of Norfolk.
Okay, let me jump in real quick. I just told my man dealing with your issue about the bus stop, which would go through MTA. Please give my chief of staff your information. She's going to give you a card. That's something that we can communicate with MTA through the government relation, because we are in the process in this community moving another bus stop. And if that is a legitimate concern about safety, and probably when they was doing the planning, that wasn't taken into consideration. So I definitely can address that issue to try to solve that. So Sasha, get her information and exchange cards, and we definitely, because we're trying to work through some solution. We're not here, and I know people are just trickling in, but we've been here on time, and I just want to give you an overview of why we're here. We're not here to bash anyone. We're not here to point fingers or anything. The whole call to action was come with ideas and solutions. We know it's a lot of different issues in our community. We know that the relationship with the police department and the community hasn't been that great, but the major did identify some issues that they are doing something and they're being proactive. And I think we have to be open-minded enough to know that you just can't paint everybody with the same brush. And we got to understand, although we as a community sometimes don't like certain individuals within that organization, but guess what? The news is who you gonna call when you're in trouble. But that same organization, so we need to be mindful of that. But at this time, I want to bring Councilperson Sharon Green Militant, and I believe, Christopher, this other councilperson. I seen Delegate Rosenberg. Yeah.
And hello, Major Hand. I know we have been communicating, talking on the phone, but this is the first time I saw you, so we'll talk later. I just want to also share with the different communities some of the things that I have been doing within my district most recently because of the problems within this immediate area, which I represent. I know really this whole complete area is divided with 4 councilmatic districts. So I can just speak with some of the things that I have been doing. I have mainly that strip all along Garrison Boulevard, and I've started and I continue to do this all the time, but I've been having my community walkthroughs with the community association presidents, and they bring on 4 or 5 people. I've invited the housing, police department, transportation, just about DPW, all the agencies. We walk through the communities, get all the different problems. I started with Callaway Garrison. I also, then I did Forest Park Association. And I noticed with each one, there were some things that really stood out that were very problematic for me, that was just one disrespectful thing with the Forest Park Association, which is that side over there where, in fact, they had the very next day after that walkthrough, that's where the shooting of the 4 people happened. And it happened in the same place where we started our walkthrough. So just imagine, here it was the president of the association. She mainly just had 3 community people. And here's this whole team of about 10 city people, and we meet there. There's this illegal car wash. We hear about the illegal things that are going on in the barbershop. So we meet there, and one of the people come out to the president, because of course they know who she is, and basically, I need to talk to you. Just ignoring what we were standing there. I need to talk to you. And of course, I kind of walk up and say, well, you can't talk to her right now because we're getting ready to do a walkthrough. Who are you? And everybody in the background, she's the council person. So then he basically kind of backed off and said, I'll talk to you later. And we started doing our walkthrough. Some of the issues, of course, and I'm saying all this because there's so many pieces of the puzzle that is causing all this. Of course, we know it is drugs everywhere in this neighborhood. Yes, open air drug markets everywhere. Even as we're kind of doing the walkthroughs. I notice on this side, some of the big houses, people buy and they turn into apartments. The owners of the houses, they need bigger trash cans. So there's a lot of stuff that the city really needs to do. My next, I go down and we do West Arlington Association. That's when I really saw the prevalence of the prostitution. We did the Dorchester. As we're walking in the Dorchester community, of course, they point out some of the houses where the prostitution rings and where people are in there doing, right here on this big corner. And the police, they know all of these different areas. They know it. But it's the laws and things that kind of prohibit certain things. But as we're standing, I just wanted to share this as we're standing on the corner of Garrison and this one corner where this big house is, and they're whispering to us, okay, this is the main place where all the stuff, all that, we're doing that. Here are the people coming down the steps. We go around the apartment complex where there were some other murders. And then they say, you're going to see a van. The people in the neighborhoods know you're going to see this van come behind there, and the van is going to pull out. And they literally opened the van, and women just started coming out. So there's some sex trafficking stuff. I mean, it's. But getting to that too, I say all this because it's just showing how the people in the community have to really step up and help us. Don't you agree? It's all of us together. I'm out there walking with the agency heads. They're going to report back to me and work and do things, but we can't just have those 3 and 4 older people that continue to try to hold up these neighborhoods. We got to get other people somehow. That's a charge that I want to work on, but we need some people in the community to help. The police walked with me, and that one house, they had to stop with us and try to get those people out of the house, but they're probably going to go back in there again at some point. So, it's the main thing I wanted to share, that as the local elected official, we're out there hands-on trying to get more people engaged and involved in your communities to help take back your communities, and to also start bringing your children, young people to your community meetings. You have to kind of condition and train them, whether it's your child, your grandchild, they have to be part of the association.
How we doing tonight? I'm Councilman Burnett. I'll keep it short because I think the answers are in this room, and I don't think they come from me. You know, the issues that we deal with, not that I don't have ideas, but I think we have a crowded room, and I'm excited to see this many people here, but the answers don't come from the top, right? I don't live in this immediate neighborhood, I live in Henderson Village, but you all do live here. And so the first charge I would put forth is to make sure that when we come to these kind of spaces that we bring young people with us, right? To be a part of this conversation. I appreciate the wisdom in this room, but you know, we need some younger folks also engaged. But also the other piece of it is talking to these kids, right? Like if we're walking past them every day and we come to these spaces to talk about our young people without actually engaging our young people in community space or in these conversations about what they want to see, they're not going to respect us. They're not going to respect you. They don't know who you are, because essentially you end up in two different worlds, right? So the push I want to make is a challenge to all of us to step up, whether it's through mentorship, working in this school, supporting this rec center, supporting the after-school programs that operate here. A lot of great things are happening in this building, and I would like the challenge to be that anytime some great things for young people are happening in this building, that we have the same amount of people here willing to step up, willing to help, because I think that's the answer. I'm also doing similar work that the Council Vice President is doing throughout the district with the neighborhood walkthroughs, trying to identify things that the city can do better when it comes to blighted housing, dumping, those kind of things, those quality of life issues. But at the end of the day, we're just two people on the council, and all of you actually live in the community. So any ways that we can support you, don't hesitate to reach out. Any ideas that you have on things that we can do on the city side, please don't hesitate to reach out. I want to be partners. But like I said, I do have to issue a challenge that we spend more time engaging our young people. And that actually makes a difference in that process, believe it or not. And I know it can be hard. I know it can feel like a lot of our young folks are lost. But without that hand reaching back to them, they're going to continue down that road. For those that don't have my information, I'm happy to give out cards. Again, I'm going to be actually sliding out in a second. There's another organization doing some great work, Baltimore Ceasefire, so I want to make sure I come to their meeting as well and support what they're doing, because I think these kind of grassroots efforts are what we need to really get behind, because that's what moves the needle. So with that, I'm going to hand it off, but I'm also going to do that.
Sure. I just want to say something about the prostitution piece that you know has always been a problem along the Garrison Boulevard area. Yeah. And remember that organization, Women Accepting Responsibility, and they, I guess, have been gone now for like 2 or 3 years. So helping the whole wraparound services, but now it has gotten worse. So I did have a personal conversation with the mayor on the problem that I saw, particularly with the prostitution. Right. So I'm getting the health department involved, because they have that, you know, they have resources, and they have that van that help with HIV and so on, because the needles and things are out here. You know, we know the reasons, some of the reasons why that happens. So that's one thing that I am really trying to work on and tackle, especially me observing what happened with the white van that I had saw, and the housing. There was a woman that was in the basement of a abandoned house for 11 years, addicted to drugs, and she lives as a squatter. Right. So, you know, and that's deep. That is really deep. So
that was a good point that you made, Councilwoman. Let me just educate you about what's going on in that particular facility in the 2200 block of Garrison Street. Garrison Boulevard, I'm sorry. I'll be the new executive director. It's a healthcare organization that will be occupying that particular building. The other thing that you may not be aware of, Michael Douglas Health Organization was closed down last week. They had over 300 and some patients that they have to now find other resources outside of the community. So you may see a proliferation of people who are not being served that have mental health issues, chronic diseases, and things like that. The organization that I'm going to be affiliated with is going to bring a wide array of mental health, substance abuse, primary care, dental, and we're starting a mentor program there too, because usually the trajectory is from patient to treatment to job, but it's other alternatives too of making one productive. And I just met with some people today. So we got to bring some resources back to the community. But I'm going to still be here, but I'm going to give my colleague, Sandy Rosenberg, an opportunity to address the community too.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Ali. We're a 41st District delegation. We work together for all parts of our district, Senator Oaks, Delegate Ali, myself, and Delegate Gibson, who can't be here because she's out of town. Let me give an example of some of the things that I'm working on and we're all working on. We're going to have 21st century schools throughout the city. But we're going to have a fair number of those schools in the short run in Northwest Baltimore, in the 41st legislative district, some in the 6th, Councilmanic, some in the 5th, so on. We're going to have great new facilities, but we've also got to make sure we have great equipment, school, curriculum, teachers, and so on. And that's part of the job. Senator Oaks and I this morning were with the new principal at Mary Rodman, which is down on Mulberry Street, just south of Edmondson, to see how we could help down there. I'm working with North Avenue on what can we do to help Arlington and Pimlico Elementary when they reopen. It's a coordinated effort. Not one person can do things alone, not one legislator. We work for you, and we work with the police, we work with the community, and we are ready to go back to Annapolis with your ideas to make our community a safer place. Thank you very much, Delegate.
Are you looking to hire staff, and where do people go to be a part of the 21st century?
Oh, well, that's 21st century is run by the school system. So in terms of staff, whether it's to teach, it's through North Avenue. We don't, as legislators, don't hire for the school system. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, where do we go? Where do we go?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
One of the things that we insisted upon when the $1 billion was put aside for us to renovate or build new schools was that they hired locally. And so on the 21st Century Schools website are job opportunities for each one of the schools that are being either renovated or built new. And they have to hire in the local community.
That's for
I think we got that goes. Yeah, that's for school construction. And so the construction jobs around those new buildings, right? And so far, the percentages of local hiring that's been done has met the target and has been pretty good. But we need to make sure that right now we've only got 3 schools, I think it is, under construction right now. And so the intent is that 25 new schools and renovated schools will result from that building initiative. And so there's some jobs, and our folks need to make sure that they're signing up for them. But there is linkage on the 21st Century Schools website for that. And in terms of normal staffing of schools, that's just directly through North Avenue. Do you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Rosenberg a question, in particularly in reference to the police department. We're in a quandary here. Everybody just doesn't know what to do. 3 weeks ago, I interviewed Commissioner Davis, and I asked him what the police response time was in the city to different communities. He said he didn't know. We had looked everywhere for it on their transparent page on the city webpage, and we couldn't find anywhere listed the response time. He promised me at that time that it would be up within a week. It is still not up. And we understand that they have to find the criminals and get the criminals, but we don't feel safe, Mr. Rosenberg. When I don't know if he left, the gentleman that just spoke from Irvington.
Burnett.
Mr. Burnett, yes, Mr. Burnett. A lady's house was being robbed, and she was sitting out on the street watching her house being robbed. She called the police. It took them 40 minutes to get there. A businessman there, a Korean businessman, his son went out into the lobby of his store and tried to get the drug addicts and pushers out of his lobby. Well, they beat him almost half to death. He called the police. They didn't get there till 30 minutes later. We don't feel safe, sir. We understand that you guys, they're fighting crime and everything, but what can we do to get the police to protect us that are not the bad guys, to get there on time, to make sure? And the Policeman Bill of Rights, I think, just keeps a filter there so that there's a detachment with Baltimore. And I'm wondering, what can you do to get that? Because the last legislature, it didn't pass. I've heard several reasons why it hasn't, but I think there's this cloud that just hovers over us. And I wonder what you can do towards the next legislature to get that moving. Because I'm telling you, I live here. I pay more in property taxes than I did in California, and I don't feel safe.
I will text Mr. Gillis, who's the legislative person for the commissioner, saying, where are we on the response times? And I'm not, which bill are you interested in? I'm sorry.
The Policeman Bill of Rights.
In terms of restricting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I supported that legislation.
Yeah, I know you did,
before,
yes.
When I was on the Judiciary Committee. I'm no longer on that committee, which gives me less ability to be involved. Mm-hmm. But I voted for the changes that came out of the House then, and would continue to support them.
Well, you did, and whenever you're here, I'm always happy to see you, because normally when you hear stuff starts to happen. So I'm hoping that this response time. But Kim, may I have another minute with Mr. Hanna?
Yes, Patrick, we're getting ready to shift gears.
Okay.
Because people are still trickling in, and I don't think people was aware of how we was going to do the format. As a professional courtesy, I wanted to acknowledge the political leaders that came out. We just had joined us, Councilman Leon Pickett. So what we want to do is, I don't think the community came here. My philosophy is this: the people who are closer to the problem are closer to the solutions. So I don't think we come here to hear politicians talk about what we're going to do and et cetera. That's not the goal and objective of this particular forum. The goal is to listen to the community. We're not listening. And so that's why we suggested that people come with ideas and solutions, not for us to give sound bites. I know we want to answer questions that's been posed to us, but the objective is, what type of ideas and solutions are we going to come up with that can be supportive to make you feel safe, and come up with a plan of how we're going to implement that. So,
may I finish my question to him?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
We have been calling about Garrison for the past month. I got in touch with Captain Yurd. I talked to Major Briscoe. 3 weeks, 4 weeks before that young man was killed here on this corner, we had been asking for them to move those police. Down on Dolefield, Aldi's has this beautiful store there. They're having to cut the trees down because the people are there dealing drugs open air, and they were standing under the entrance of their store. They cut these beautiful Japanese elms down just to keep the people from standing there. We have been asking, just drive by, tell people to move on, and we have gotten no. Now somebody gets killed over here. Now the police are there 24/7. Why does it have to get to that degree? Why can't the police just drive by on their way home, on their way to the Northwest Station on Reisterstown, and just stop and say, you guys clear out from here? Because it's hurting our pharmacy down there, it's hurting our businesses down there. Our seniors don't feel safe coming to get their pharmacies filled, and people don't feel safe down there. We're trying to renovate that, but we can't do it if we don't feel safe coming to it, sir. So I'm just wanting, and I'm not trying to gripe nobody out, but it is frustrating because we're trying and we want to live here. We want our property values to go up. We want our children to be safe. We want to be safe. And we just want to know, what do we have to do to feel that you guys are protecting us? That when we call you, that you come, and no matter where you are. And there's an app that I want to turn you on to called Hero 911. And it goes on in policemen's phones. And when something happens in an area, and it calls in to the dispatcher, every policeman that's in that area, a beep goes off on his phone. And if he's near, he can just go there quickly. So we didn't have to wait to be dispatched. I'm just wondering, what are you guys doing to make us feel safe, to let us know that you are genuinely concerned? We know the criminals are going to be the criminals, but we feel we need to be protected by the police department, because that's what we pay you for, and that's what we expect from you.
Okay. Come on, respond to it.
There's a whole list of things you're talking about when you talk about police response and feeling safe. So years ago, I was a sergeant in planning and research. So I did all that analytical data on police response time. So about 10 to 12 years ago, our average response time was 3 to 5 minutes for a call. But over the last 7, 8 years, our police department has shrunk by 800 police. So currently for the Northwest District, there are 16 officers that patrol from the county line to where Mondawmin is, and over to the county line. And this is the Charlie shift. It works from 4 to 2 in the morning. 16 officers handle about 187 calls for service between 16 police officers. And we have to prioritize a lot of different calls. So for instance, a serious case like a shooting may take half your staff just to be able to control that shooting, or a robbery victim, or an arrest, or someone has to go to the hospital, and 2 officers by policy has to sit with that arrestee that's committed a crime in your neighborhood. And there's also some things that help us out with not responding to certain calls, is that there's an app where you can go to the Baltimore City Police app, and you can take your own police report yourself online. Larceny from auto, lost property. There's certain crimes that you can actually report yourself, and you swear to, and you get a police report number, and then the police department gets it. And that helps on calls for service as well. Some of the other things that we do in the police department, because we're restricted in personnel, is that our light duty staff that work in the station house, we make them call you at home. There's a report that they can take over the phone. They'll take their report for you over the phone. So we prioritize calls. So there are times when calls will sit for 45 minutes. It happens. It really does. But when you only have 16 police officers handling calls, it becomes challenging. But the supervisors and the sergeants, they work as hard as they can to get those calls in a reasonable amount of time. And sometimes it's not always the best. The police department is working very hard and diligent to hire more police, so that way we can manage our call volume. The police department gets about 1.5 million calls a year between 2,300 police officers in Baltimore City. 1.5 million. That's about what we run. So feeling safe, I get it. You're passionate. The other things you're talking about, I think everybody wants.
So you're saying, should we?
One minute, sir.
No,
he's not done. And we're going. One of the things we got to understand here tonight, we're going to do things in decency and order. You know, that's rule number one. If you have a question, someone will acknowledge you and give you an opportunity to express what your concern is. But please do not be disrespectful to anyone here tonight.
Raise your hand.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, just raise your hand and I'll acknowledge you.
I'm sorry, first time here.
Okay. That's why we're here to educate you.
Oh, yeah, right.
But like I say, I feel your pain. Like I say, I live right down the street in Gwinnett. So I know the realities of what it is. And most of these officers that come in here every day and work, they care. We got some bad apples, and we deal with them. But there's guys and girls in this job that got family living in these same communities. And when you're dealing with a situation, you got an armed robbery coming out here, a sex offense coming over here, a parking complaint. Everybody's issue is important to them.
Yes, sir.
The speeding in the neighborhood, that's important to them. That takes time. Everybody wants their issues dealt with, no matter how minute it is. And the police department is the first thing of government. So when things go wrong, the police get the first effects of that. So there's a multitude of things that has to work for all this to happen. And if I had the solution to it, I'd be a rich man.
What would you think of auxiliary police?
So we do have auxiliary police.
I know, you only got 3 of them from what I read.
I actually was auxiliary police when I was going through college and volunteered with the Baltimore City Police Department and went through the ranks all the way to major. So I know exactly how it works. And I actually brought auxiliary police here in the last few weeks to help us out with things. But unfortunately, auxiliary police do not carry weapons.
Right.
So I can't send a man to a gunfight with a mace can.
Right.
So I have to be smart of where I put these people, where you put these folks at, and where I have them at to be effective with what we're dealing with. So they are there. It's a small group of people, and we're trying to grow that because when there's traffic control or there's parades, instead of putting a full duty officer there with a gun and a belt, we probably could put one officer there to supervise 5 or 6 auxiliary officers, while we can take all the full duty bodies that have guns and badges and can put them somewhere else.
Major Briscoe said that she wanted, excuse me, please, I'm sorry, I just got to ask him this one question, and I will shut up. I will shut up.
All right. We're going to be respectful. Okay. And I'm keep referring back.
I mean, no
that.
disrespect.
And I understand that, Patrick. But we have 3 people now that are waiting that want to comment. But before the young lady here, and the gentleman with the hat, and you have the young lady over here. But before I get to you, ma'am, representatives from Baltimore City State's Attorney Office will get 2 minutes to address the order.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Green. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for the State's Attorney's Office, and I just want to pick up on something real quick. Thank you, Delegate Ali, for hosting this, and I'm not going to stay long. Major Hand said something earlier around just the whole process of criminal justice, and understand that there are a number of partners that make up the criminal justice system. Most importantly, it's you, the residents. So I tell you, like I tell everybody else, I too am a city resident, so I understand and feel your pain. We work closely with the police department. Then comes the state's attorney's office. One of the things that we need you to do as residents that helps us, because Major Hans referenced how repeat offenders are getting locked up, they're getting prosecuted, we're getting them found guilty, and they're getting off repeatedly, is we need you guys as residents to do community impact statements or victim impact statements. And what that does is that allows our prosecutors to go into court, and it makes a difference before a judge, because the judge is going to know that, just like all of the other elected officials here, judges stand for re-election. And whether or not you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, doesn't matter. That's the reality. And so when they see a number of impact letters before them, or when they see community members in the courtroom on a particular case, it makes a difference. Because a judge will say, I have to deal with this a little bit differently. So again, I just implore you to work with us. We have a number of community liaisons, 1 for each district. And I just ask that you help us work with us by filling out community impact statements and or victim impact statements, whichever the case may be. I'm going to give you my email address real fast, and I'll turn it back over to Delegate Ali. But my email address is D as in Derek, Green, Green, at STattorney.org. You can get to me, and then I can get you to your particular liaison for your particular district. Again, that's dgreen, Green, at STattorney.org.
Okay, so when you gonna come and show us how to do victim impact statements?
So we're going to get your liaison out here and make sure that happens. So that's why I gave my email address. You give me a thing, and we're going to make it happen.
All right.
How's that? Is that fair?
I love it.
All right.
Mr. Green, also tell them that's on the website.
It is on our website. It's on STattorney.org. We actually have a form up there. You can do it electronically if you like, but definitely email me, and we will come out and walk you through it and provide assistance and the like. All right. Give me my email address one more time. dgreen, D as in Derek, Green, Green, at STattorney.org. And I also have some newsletters that I'll give out at the end to keep you up to date on what's happening with the State's Attorney's Office. Thank you.
And the website again, I'm sorry.
STattorney.org. STattorney.
That's the website.
That's our main website.
STattorney.org.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dirk. So we're going to pick back up. The only limitation is we're going to allow you 2 minutes to respond. So we got a number of people to be courteous so everybody can participate in the process. So you're first.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Delegate.
Yeah, and if you want to come up here, feel free. As long as you are respectful. They don't have that nonsense.
Hello, everybody. We're not here to beat up on nobody. Our problems in Baltimore City can't be blamed on no one person. We are here tonight for ideas and solutions. Okay? So I got 2 ideas. Because what we need, we can't blame the police when people kill it. We can't blame the parents. We're just not even going to go there. Everybody know people dying. Everybody know everybody upset. The people that's doing the crimes ain't at the meetings. What we got to do is throw out some ideas. Now, I got 2. All right? One of them is, I suggest we form some kind of panel, or whatever it is, whatever big word y'all got, because I'm short on big words, but whatever word y'all got, when we make a proposal, that we get in the books and we change the laws. We need to make crime not so appealing. The people, they do not respect the law anymore. We got to make the crime so severe that these people are scared to pull the trigger. Something got to make you think. When mama beat your butt and you did it the next time, you thought about that whipping. So we got to make it so severe that these people get up and think about what they getting ready to do. First idea. Second, well, let the law be their moms. That's what I'm saying. We need to get in the books and change the laws. Number 1. Number 2, my suggestion for number 2 is that maybe since the mayor and the controller and the governor kicking out all these checks, maybe they can write a check that will start to train children from 16 to whatever age to be junior police. See, because when people have people mentoring them in their life, they change, and then they can get out and talk to these other brothers and sisters. That's my 2 cents. Let the state be mom and dad. Change the laws.
Great idea.
You were next, man.
Great idea. Great idea.
You next, brother.
Bro, stop yelling out, bro.
Hey, brother,
Stop
wait a
yelling
minute,
out,
brother.
bro.
Now,
You can't do that.
listen.
Stop doing
Man,
that.
I said you were the next person. The ladies up here, man. I'm telling you now, let's get this straight. No. We need to get this straight. We come here as a community. We ain't gonna have that nonsense. We're not gonna have that. Now, if you want to be a part of the process and participate based upon the rules, then you what? Wait a minute, bro.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna do that here. We bringing the same type of energy and attitude that we are here trying to get solutions. We're not going to have that nonsense. You want to be a part of the solution or you want to be a part of the problem. You got the option to abide by the rules or somebody can call them an Uber.
You the problem.
All right, good evening, y'all. First of all, I echo everything you said. My name is Shakira Johnson. I'm I live in Franklintown, not too far from here. I'm vice president of our association.
That's right,
He's seen me a couple times. And every time we meet, I always say it takes a village. Like he said, you know, the police department, everywhere you go, who's willing to give their life on the line for someone they don't know or a community they know? It takes a lot to come out there and do it. But it takes a lot for you as a community to come together. You know, this is a start. Us all here, even having this conversation is excellent. But we have to do things on our own as well. And I'm here for one reason, actually, from Nextdoor. Has anybody here used the Nextdoor app?
No.
For those that don't know, the Nextdoor app is the app that you use as a neighborhood community to report whatever, whether it be crime, whether it be safety, whether you need childcare. That's an app where we can come as a community to discuss things. I just had a robbery right 2 weeks ago at my own home while I was home. And there's plenty of vandalism going on around my neighborhood right now. And luckily, I have cameras and I recorded that. And I got the perp, I want to say a nice word. I got the perp on camera and I reported that to Baltimore County because I'm on the county side myself. And, you know, hopefully it's small pieces, so it may not get resolved right away. But another resident had the same thing happen, and he also had cameras. And I said, that's the same perp that was at my house. As a community, we need to build awareness. Now that it happened to me and it happened to this person, we hope the next person it doesn't happen to, because all of us are now more aware of what's going on. We may not be able to resolve it. You know, we're doing our due diligence to report it to the police, but at least we are aware for the next time. If I see that guy, I'll see what I might do. But at least now we know. So it takes a community. You know, there's things that we have to do. We have to come out. We have to support. I got a little notes here. Hold on. Now I'll be done in a little bit. And there's also someone also put on Nextdoor that there is a service that we can get free cameras. So if you don't have cameras currently or you can't afford it, there are programs out there to help with that. So hop on Nextdoor if you're not on there now. Also, in our neighborhood, we have what's called FPAC and their security council, and they do, I know she had mentioned we may need something like that. Maybe bring that up in your neighborhood. Have a security council that deals with specifically crime and security issues. Another thing maybe is a question. We had a program, and then I'm done. We had a program called Coffee with the Cop, which was excellent. So Franklintown, to give you a little idea, we're off of Windsor Mill Road and Windsor Mill Road and Forest Park Avenue. And there's another BP station there that had shootings. And unfortunately, the cops came out after the shootings to patrol, and we actually had that BP shut down, and because the attendant was in cahoots with the drug dealers. And it's like, you're caught on camera dealing with the drug dealers. We as a community got together and spoke to who actually owns the Carroll Fuel with the BP name on it, shut it down until you got your stuff together. Because we as a community will not stand for it. So we've shown results coming together. And the Coffee with the Cop program was also excellent. I wish we could definitely bring that back, please.
Kim is taking down the idea.
Okay, just for those that don't know, we had some of the cops come out to our local neighborhood just for a day. We all got together and, you know, so that we got familiar with them on a level, just yelling at them all day, telling them what they're not doing. It was a positive thing. And some of the drug dealers walking by were like, oh my God, the cops. It's reeking of weed. It's like, it kind of scared them away. And it also got us to know, oh, that's #1 drug dealer? Well, we're not going to stand for it. We're going to be out here and show you we're a community that's united, and you're not the community. Thank you.
I think there's some talented, creative people in this room, and I just want to ask.
Yes.
I want to ask.
Give you opportunity.
You're here because you care, right? You care about your person, you care about your home, you care about your family, right? And so we, caring people, take ownership, right? And you come here tonight because you want to take ownership. You want to be part of this change, this metamorphosis that we are going to make in this community. And I thank you for showing up. It is critically important. Yes, our police department is not done the level of service and protection that we'd all like, right? Let's acknowledge that. Let's get it out, okay? All right, so at this point in time, what are we going to do? And I'm so grateful that there are people in this room who are willing to come up with ideas. And maybe the idea that you come up with is not one that you can personally implement, but collectively, we can do some great things, right? And so we just had a great suggestion, coffee with a cop.
Baltimore City did it.
Right? And so we can do that in the city, especially around, and maybe we won't serve coffee, but we'll serve chocolate milk with a cop with our children, right? Because they need to get to know these cops. You know, it is critically important that we offer them that bridge, right? Because, you know, there's an officer on the BP parking lot right now, Officer Kirk, and I went up there and talked to him, right? And the guy who was there the other day when I came through, Officer Felt, I stopped and talked to, right? Because we have to. And we gotta let the children know that having conversations with these human beings who wear uniforms, it's okay. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with having a conversation with a cop. You know, we don't use certain words in our vocabulary around our children. And I want to continue because this is critically important what the next hour of this event is going to be about.
Here you go, bro.
Thank you so much. I am from the community. I live down the street, and first time here, so I'm a little shaky. Don't worry about it. But the thing is, I watched the killings going up in the cities around the city. I see what's happening. But my question is to you guys. Now, years ago, y'all guys remember when Kurt Smoke, son was driving the restaurant on Plaza? Mm-hmm. And how long did it take him to find that guy? This last guy here, one of your guys,
TJ.
Whatever.
Smith.
His killer wreck over here, I think it was. How long did it to find this guy?
72 hours.
Right.
72 hours.
So with all this killings going on, and you guys can't find a clue what's going on here, who those suspects do, but how's that thing happen? Huh? Understand that.
You're not the
solution
moderator.
is this. I also want to say, go Trump. Go Trump. Yeah. Anyway, think about it, and guess what? All these killings are like you kick to the curb, and guess what happens? What's the time check, Bob?
Thank you. Thank you.
You can't find him out getting killed, but you can find one who left poverty. You can find them guys who got Woo! Go Trump!
All right. I asked that y'all come because I want to talk solutions. Right? There's enough trauma, enough pain in this city, right, that we have to address. Right? I stood here in the rec center last Thursday, and a 12-year-old walks up to me and says, "Miss Kim, I have a headache because my uncle died last week." Now, when a 12-year-old comes up to you and says that, he wants comfort, right? The only thing I could do was hug him, right? But I don't know the circumstances of how his uncle died. It was probably tragic. It was tragic enough that it consumed his mind, right? To the point that he said, I need a hug, right? You know, and we're gonna have to hug a whole lot of children in this city, right? Because they're feeling something.
Fear.
So I'm ready for us to be about something positive, okay? And I need your help. Our babies need your help. And there's a whole lot of ideas because I can see them, right? So I'm going to try to start taking down ideas, right? And then we're going to have follow-on conversations about how to implement those ideas. And then if it means that we need money to implement, because I know the brother there is going to talk about how we need money in our community in order to make the things work that we need to work. We're going to get the money to make the things work in our community. Because they don't want to invest in us. We're going to put in the sweat equity, but we want some of our tax dollars coming back here as well. Right? So when we talk this conversation, yeah, it's about to get radical, right? Because we're going to demand some money. That's right. But we're going to also put in the work. And that's the critical part of this conversation. And now, ideas first, work, and funding, right? In that order, right? That's what I need, a commitment from everybody in this room. I need great ideas, right? I need teams of people to put it together, right? Love your neighbor, work with your neighbor, right? Right? And then once we start demonstrating that we can be successful, right? We're going to demand the money.
Come on, bro. Hey, Mr. Ryder, you be next.
Hi. My name's John Sladen. I work with Howard Park. Say what? Now, Howard Park had a problem. We've had it for a long time. There were drugs, vacant houses, nuisance houses that were troubling to everyone. One of the problems with vacant and nuisance housing is it brings everybody down. Yes, it does. So we decided, let's do something about it. We took service learning program kids from high schools and we taught them how to gather data, to use data. Because what was missing in this equation was we had no data on the number of vacant and nuisance houses. The city had it at 15. We ran a pilot program. We went back and then we ran another program using youth work kids who got paid. We submitted our data to the city. The city said, this is good stuff. The number of vacant houses prior to our survey was 15. The number after our survey was 220. Whoa. They accepted them all. We did all the research for the city. They didn't have to do anything. Researched the owners, put the number of violations against them, and it's simple. And we will be doing this with 8 other communities. We want to build a model that does exactly this. You have to gather the data, and then you can move on to develop a CDC, a Community Development Corporation, which has the right to sue the owners of these houses. Or you get a 501c3 for the organization. It's not difficult. And you offer the owners of these houses tax-free. You say, I'll give you a tax exemption on this. They give that house to you. I got 5 more seconds. And to address Kim's third one, that brings money into your community. So, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, okay.
Rydell Howard, and I'm president of the Northwest District Police Community Relations Council. It is run by the Northwest District residents. We meet on the 4th Tuesday of every month. We have a membership fee of $10 for individuals, $35 for organizations and/or associations. We meet to talk about the same things that are going on here now, but we also meet, our main function is to come up with ways that we can work with our district police. Whereas if you are a member, you are allotted to go to roll call so that you will have the opportunity to meet the police officers that are on a specific shift so that they get to know who you are. Because if you don't come out and they don't know who you are, there's a lot of information that is given that's not given by us that are concerned residents. It's given by those that are working against us to get what we know. So we have to come out. We meet at the Northwest District, and the meeting is at 7 o'clock. But we have to come out so that we can work together to give them a helping hand. Because really, I learned something new here tonight myself, okay? I thought it was 30 officers per district per shift, and I understand it's 16. And with my 30, I went down to 20 because I said, don't let anybody be sick, don't let anybody go on vacation, don't let anybody have to go to court, don't let anything happen. Please come out to that meeting, the fourth Tuesday of each month. That's 4171 Ricestown Road.
Thank you, Patricia. I do.
5271 Ricestown Road.
Hey.
Sorry about that.
Two fundamental ideas that I think everybody here could utilize or be intentional and impactful. Civilians, attach yourself. We've been hearing the theme to children. So a vulnerable space is attach yourself to some schools where you can work with these children, love on these babies, teach these babies, because my thought is that the only way to really curb this violence is to change the mindset. So once you have 16, 17, 20-year-olds feeling the way they are, it's really who they are. It's their personality, it's their character. It takes a lot of work.
Lady want to know who you are. So sort of identify yourself so people can identify.
Abdul Salam of Keys Development, a new program that we are practicing in substance abuse. So if anybody know the gentleman that was acting a little funny, if he needs some help, send him my way. We work with a lot of children on a mental health program. And we do a lot of work in school. So once again, just civilians loving on these babies, connect with the school in your community. It's a way to be intentional and impactful. That's a way to know these young adults before they're out there. And then you can kind of intervene when you might see them doing something not illicit or whatever the case may be, let's be frank. And you can talk to them, you have those relationships. So the only way to really curb these behaviors are to have those relationships, have that rapport, and be able to talk about uncomfortable topics, on the spot. For the other side of the law, I think that it would be impactful to intentionally target people of the human sciences. I think that that's a way to change the mindset. I hear about training all day. We need this training and that training and this community engagement. But in my opinion, the only way to really change what's going on behind the blue is to change the mindset once again on that side. So to have individuals that have human sciences as their application, that's what they do, and not tactical. The tactics aren't working, obviously. So to be able to come with a different mindset and a different strategic planning, I think will be intentional and impactful. Thank you. I think Bilal, thank you for this point, bro.
Thank you. Come on, bro. I'll get you next, Joe. You got Angela. Is it Angela? Angela. Okay, here you go. Only thing I'm asking people to do when you do
identify what's going to come out. Houses are falling everywhere. Houses are being built. We want to do that. We want to do training. We want to go and make this something that people can have jobs for taxpayers. So I would like to continue talking to you some more about that and put people to work. Okay. And thank you for the forum.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. I have some cards.
Thank you very much.
Would you mind giving it?
Sister True Heart.
Would you mind giving it for the Facebook people that are watching?
My phone number is 443-791-6263. That's my cell number. My office number is 410-837-7278. My email address is reentrynow@yahoo.com. I am helping the police with reentry.
Thank you, man. George Mitchell, president of Neighborhood United.
Stand over here. My mouth is big enough. I think people hear me.
No, George, the rules are, come on up here. I just had one person to call Uber for. Give me a second Uber. The Uber's waiting outside. Look, folks, I'm just going to say this. Like Bilal said, I'm president of Neighborhood United. I'm going to say this. I don't want nobody to get mad. I was sick of these meetings. We are having meetings to have meetings to have meetings. And we still not moving it. What can? We got to have some action. I wasn't there, but I heard a meeting they had at Northwestern about Northwestern High School last night. And there were 300 people there. And 10 of us were our color. 290 of them were people of another color. Look at this room. We may have 50 people, maybe 60 people here. And where's all the crime happening? In our neighborhood. Our children are getting killed. Our children are being miseducated, and we sit around having meetings. Meetings is not going to do anything. This meeting is not going to do a doggone thing if you don't get outside that door tomorrow and do something about it. Now, every kid I know under 12 years old, what's the first thing they say they want to be when they grow up?
Police.
Police officer. Or fireman. Now, between the time they're 5 and the time they're 14, something happens. Not only do they don't want to be a police officer anymore, they hate the police. So what is going on between those 5 and 8, 9 years for kids to be like that? And I'm going to tell you what the problem is. You want to know what the real problem is? Turn around and look at your neighbor. We're the problem. We instead of us sitting and complaining and having meetings, we got to start. Believe me, I'm not a career all. I work hard. My people work hard. Neighbors, they work. We're having a thing starting next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, having an art project for young kids. Guess who's doing it? The police department. We're having a big thing on August the 29th at C.C. Jackson. Food, helicopter, K-9 unit, baseball. Guess who's doing it? The police department. So I don't want to hear about stuff about that police. Police are not the cure-all. You can put 1,000 police in this community, and we still gonna have 200 killers, and we still gonna kill each other. So all I'm saying to you is this: let's stop. Excuse me, and I don't mean be disrespectful. Let's stop all these damn meetings and start doing something to take care of our kids. I'm sick of these meetings. I go to enough meetings. I have a meeting to have a meeting. Folks, you got to get out and do something. You got to take care of our children. You got to make sure our children are loved. You got to carry your children to the library, read them a book, buy them a football every now and then, and let's start doing our community episodes. We got these politicians here, or whatever you want to call them. No, I'm not being disrespectful. But when 300 people show up at a meeting on a Monday night, and they tell them what they want, and then we got 60 people show up at a meeting on a Tuesday night, who do you think they're going to listen to?
The 300.
You're damn right, the 300. And so, folks, we got to talk to each other. We got to help each other. We got to stop all these meetings and stop non-action. Because our kids, like Kim Troy said, they're dying. They're getting killed. Let's start working with the poor. You got Major Nance here. He can be home with his family. He came here for a reason. He didn't come here to be chastised and beat up. He came in because he's concerned. So let's stop fighting the police.
Let's start fighting these drug dealers, start fighting these people out killing, because you know it's more of them than there is us. But we're too damn scared to go out there on that damn corner and say to these people, get off my corner. I bet you 50, all 50 of us went out on that corner right now at the BP station. I bet you won't be one drug dealer out there selling drugs. I guarantee it. So, I'm not chastising, I'm trying to get on anybody that's here. All I'm saying, more action, less talk. Less meetings, more action. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, hello, beautiful kings and queens. I've been living in this area since the age of 15, and I live on Springdale.
What's your name?
Yes, my name is Pam Curtis Massey, founder and president of Pushing a Vision Outreach. And I know I have 2 minutes, but one thing that is very sickening, even in the community meetings for the Forest Park Community Association, I am my block captain, and I'm the youngest one on my block. I'm 33 years old with 2 sons. And the only reason why they're not here because they're with their dad. But I make sure my 12 and my 14-year-old are very active and coming to the meetings and really asking questions. But about 2 weeks ago, I'm gonna ask Sergeant Johnson to come up here, please. I told you I was gonna put you on the spot. Can I have you come up here? You are in a community meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I only have 2 minutes. So anyway, so then about 2 weeks ago, this is what happened. 4 young men, and they all had weapons. And they started to approach me in front of my sons. They are standing, they are actually literally looking out the window at me, and I give them a look to say, like, don't come out here, because I called them and I said, I am going to pull up to the house so y'all can help me with the groceries. They're young men. So you will help me. So as I'm getting the groceries out the back seat, 4 young guys that I see frequently at the BP gas station began to approach me in broad daylight. What, it was like 3:45? About 3:45. And when I tell you, I had that gut feeling because he had the mindset, I don't care how you look. My mindset is, I'm going to do something to someone today. And at that moment, and I made eye contact, and I don't want to tear, but then I made eye contact with my sons. Either way, even if they would have came out or witnessed from the window, they still would have seen something happen to their mother. So then at that moment, common sense, street smarts will always outweigh book degree. Y'all know.
That's true.
Don't be so smart that you're stupid. So then, at that moment, I made eye contact with each one of them, and I said, good day, young kings. And one tapped, the other one was like, pause, like, because they probably said, she knows that we about to approach her, and she's still going to call us kings. So long story short, they walked away. I called Sergeant Johnson, on his cell phone, and I said, listen, I don't have a good feeling, something's gonna happen, this is what the guys look like. And I gave him a description on his answer machine. He wound up calling me back, and then while he's calling me back, I see the guys, because I'm going to the community meeting that night when I had spoke then. So long story short, he told me to stay on the phone with him, so that I put the phone on speaker so that my sons can know that you guys aren't the enemy. So I put it on speaker, so then I said, you know what? I really need for my sons, my African American sons, to know that they should not be fearful of you. So I said, because truth be told, let anyone be on our tails, we're going to call the police. Period. I don't care how much y'all say, forget the police, y'all will call them. So then, with that being said, there was a bridge being built. It's called communication and partnership and being active in your community and actually helping the leaders. And And I'm so proud of you for even having this. But it's time for us, because I should not be the youngest one in my area that's 33 years old, to be active on my association. I'm 33. I'm the youngest one. That's unacceptable. We as women have to step up and know that what we possess, because our men are out of position. But kings, y'all are kings. Y'all are head and not the tail, above and not beneath. Y'all are the first and not the last. It's more of us than them. I'm not scared. I spoke up for my community. I have 2 African American sons, and I would not lose them to these streets. I would not lose my sons to these streets. So, with that being said, I never really said thank you, but I thank you because he continued to check on me and my sons to make sure that we were okay. And then 40 minutes after that happened, was about to happen to me, they did carjack a guy and beat him on the corner of my street. And because their mindset was, I'm going to hurt someone. So again, I thank you, and I thank everyone that even is here tonight. I don't take anyone lightly or anyone for granted, but we have to step up as women and men in our community.
Step up. Thank you. That changed the imagery of how we perceive people.
As the Major Ed mentioned earlier, we need a paradigm shift in how we are relating to our police officers. And I think that's a classical example of how you can build relationships as opposed to walls. And we need to start tearing down a lot of these walls that we have built within our community. I salute you, sir.
Northwest District. I've worked this area, and I'm pretty much everywhere. But I've been here maybe a year and a half when I started meeting different people. I know Ms. Gatewood here. I'm big on community engagement. I'm a Baltimore native. I grew up in Sandtown, Winchester area. Shout out Sandtown. So I have a vested interest in building, Baltimore, making Baltimore a better place for everybody. Community policing, community engagement, it does work. You might not be able to reach everybody, but everybody just can't reach everybody, you can't save everybody. So I make it a point to get to know people. And I teach the younger officers that I supervise, to get to know people, get out your cars and just talk to people. Kind of from East Baltimore, I worked the Eastern District for a long time. And, I built relationships with people over there. They still invite me to their barbecues. They still come with their problems. So, you look at me, I love to eat, so of course I will. But as Sister Curtis was saying, we have to start working together. All police are not bad, just like all citizens are not bad. And we can't do it without y'all. And just little information, sometimes it's a snowball effect and turn into big things. So I pretty much say that to say, hey, we here. Things might not work as fast as they used to due to certain situations, but we're here. Everybody, I think this is a time for everybody in the city. Okay. Time everybody in the city need to pull together and just start working together as one. Divided we're weak, together we're strong. That's pretty much all I'm saying.
Thank you, Angela. You next, man. Man, you next.
I have to get the baby home. My name is Angie Smith. I'm actually the founder of Restoring the Village Project. If you heard of Restoring the Village Project or RTV, basically exactly what you just said and many others is that we strive to bring everybody together, the community. And that's one of the things I do. I attend meetings, I attend events, I love attending it. Some may think it may not be beneficial, but if you look at this room, this is still a good turnout, and it shows that you care. Sometimes we just need a direction. If you go onto the website, everybody that has an organization, a neighborhood association, we have them listed on our website because we want to make it accessible for everyone to go to. Not to have to go to this website or that website, but so many people are doing great things. Despite what we hear about on the news, there are so many people fighting very hard, and you all can play that part as well. So I am very much with Mr. George about action. Real quick, I went to an event, a gospel concert, to speak, because I speak a lot because I lost my husband. I lost my husband 15 years ago. And I do a lot of speaking engagement. I reach out to the youth that are grieving. That's my passion, the children. I believe that we get those children when they're young.
Yes.
We can help them.
Yes.
We gotta do it, and we can't allow the streets to do it. But long story short, I went to an event, and there was a woman who said that she's in the Rosemont, the community, and she said, I need help. And when I looked at her, I'm just giving cards and telling them about Baltimore ceasefire, and I turned around and I took more time with her because she was really crying for help.